Hi, everybody. This is Mark Smith. I'm with Family Tree Life Coaching, and I'm in a really good mood tonight because my beloved Dallas Cowboys played an amazing football game in overtime and had a walk-off touchdown to win the game against the New England Patriots. And I'm pretty fired up about it. So I have a dark topic while I'm in a good mood. I'll try to stay with the joy of my life while I'm talking about things that really aren't dark. I think they're true. The title of tonight's video is "Broken Person Dating is Emotionally Dangerous." Broken person dating is emotionally dangerous. Tell you something you didn't already know, right? You might have already noticed that. In the background, we have the picture that I like so much, if I can get out of the way, of the two Adirondack chairs by the ocean. And it's sort of a theme picture for this series of videos called Broken People Dating Broken People. So, night before last, my nephew, no, it was last night, my nephew talked me into going with him to the new Halloween movie, Halloween Kills, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers, the evil killer. Uh, I don't mean to offend anybody, of any one of you that likes those videos. It really wasn't my thing. Um, but they kept talking about the boogeyman. The boogeyman is out there. And I think there are millions of shattered people, shattered women, especially, but shattered men as well. They're afraid of the boogeyman. They're afraid of the boogie woman. It's going to get them, the narcissist. And I have a lot to teach you that will help you to be less afraid of the boogeyman while taking appropriate safe precautions. This weekend, I met with my younger brother, Sam, and we went to a local breakfast place on Saturday morning called Ruth's Cafe. And this place has pictures on the wall that you can purchase. Here's one that I bought, and I call it, didn't it look exact? Those of you who know Mr. Pauly, who knew Mr. Pauly, doesn't it look exactly like him? I call it Mr. Pauly in heaven. And every time I look at it, I think of Beagle Heaven and Mr. Pauly being there. I found that at Ruth's. And then I found this isn't this is just a picture of it. I did buy it. It is on the wall in my bathroom. I didn't want to haul it in here for this. And it was about loss. It was about grieving. It was about breakup. But it had a real positive message, and I want to read it before I get into the nitty gritty of why broken person dating is so emotionally dangerous. So here we go. I don't know whose quote this is. I think it's just somebody who sells these where you walk by and you buy. I don't think she does them. I don't know who it is, but here we go. As you grow up, you'll have your heart broken more than once, and it's harder every time. That's not true. It's not harder every time. As you mature and you get healthier, it's actually not harder. Um, it's harder the first time you go around in midlife, the first time you have your defense mechanism shattered, that's when it's harder. But if you've been around the block of recovery and you've dated more than one dark character, then it actually gets easier as you get healthier. You'll break hearts too, so remember how it felt when yours was broken. You'll fight with your best friend. You'll cry because time is passing too fast. And you'll eventually lose somebody that you love. So take too many pictures, laugh too much, and love like you've never been hurt. Because every 60 seconds you spend upset is a minute of happiness that you'll never get back. Now, that was a big pile of frou-frou for the most part. There was some poignant moments, but just telling you to buck up and be happy and take pictures, it's a little more complicated than that. But I thought it was relevant in that it's talking about loss, losing people that you love. At one point, these dangerous, dark characters um, actually uh, were people that I'm going to move this picture over. Were people that you you loved, and even though they turned out to be, bad actors. So, number one, uh, the main thing you need to fear is yourself. You know, the universe doesn't have the power to harm you without your full cooperation and consent. So fear your own lack of recovery, fear your own lack of fear your own lack of insight. That's who you need to be afraid of. You need to fear yourself and your own issues, who you draw and who you attracting. The only person who's responsible for protecting you is you. So number one reason broken person dating is emotionally dangerous is, you know, you're probably, many of you like me, and you grew up in, and everybody grew up in a dysfunctional family. Don't let anybody fool you or tell you any different. It's not true. But some of us really grew up in an especially wickedly dysfunctional family, and that's difficult, and it makes midlife broken dating very emotionally dangerous. But I do want to make the point that everybody's broken. It just shows up more powerfully and more intensely right around the age of late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s especially, on through. uh, the way the universe, the way Mother Nature arranged it, you sort of issue wise, most people get their 20s through their early 30s sort of off relationship wise. You fall in love and you enmesh, and it seems pretty good for most people. Not all people, most people. If you grew up with vicious narcissists, you don't get your 20s off. You're picking narcissistic people from the very get-go. So why do I say that broken person dating is emotionally dangerous? Aren't I being too negative? Um, shouldn't we just go and have fun and go to a bar and hear a band play and drink a couple of drinks and fall in love with somebody and live happily ever after? Why am I making such a dark deal of it being so emotionally dangerous. Well, those of you who are in your late 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, who've been through hell and back know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's my list of what you need to look out for. This is just off the top of my head. It probably doesn't include even half of the bad actors who are out there. Um, Obviously, narcissists. In my caseload right now, I think I only have 2 out of 40 something. It's not like narcissists are running the country. Well, one used to, but he got defeated in the last election. Don't give me any shit about that. It's not like narcissists are on every street corner. They are on every dating site. They dominate every dating site. The problem is when you're in your 40s and 50s, where else are you going to meet somebody? You're not going to probably be going to bars. And a lot of your friends are married. How are you going to meet somebody? It's hard. So you get on dating sites and you pick really dangerous people. So narcissists, liars, con men, con women, cheaters, sexual addicts. I was talking with my daughter in Denver who is buying a house. And we were talking about the safety of the house and the inspection. Turns out the inspection turned out trace elements of methamphetamine. I told her to not worry about that, get it remediated and move on. But I did tell her to check the registry of sex offenders. And in most states, a sex offender, which is online, and when they move into the neighborhood, you will be notified. But in most states, they can't be within 12 blocks of a school. But in Denver, there's so many people moving into that city, like, tens of thousands every month. I think it's like 40,000 a month. It's really a city that's growing really quickly. There just simply isn't enough housing. And my daughter got on there, and within a 10-block radius, there were 61 registered sex offenders. And I said, well, do it for your current house. And she did it for the current house, and there were 49 registered sex offenders within a 10-block radius. So we live in a world with a lot of sexual deviance out there. Also very dangerous on websites for dating are relationship addicts. There are manipulators, users, people with all kinds of money issues. They might swindle you. They might use you as a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. They might be under earners. They might be overspenders. They might be stingy with their money. They might be hoarders. They might be gamblers. They might not know how to save their money. They might save too much of their money. People are freaky around their money, let me tell you. So let me get off my rant about money issues. You have to be careful for ragers, for controllers, for people who fear chaos, which looks like being controlling, but it's really fear of chaos. They grew up with a lot of chaos in their background. You have to deal, of course, with addicts. This could be alcohol, drugs, food, work, pornography, playing with your phone, playing games with your phone, being on social media, being on the internet, Religion is a major addiction. There's just so many things that you can be addicted to. You could be addicted to binge watching Netflix. You can be addicted to bringing home new pets. Besides addicts, you can pick people who lack emotional depth. Through the years, I've worked with a lot of guys who just lack a lot of very much emotional depth. They just can't go. They can't have a deep conversation. Codependents, borderlines, people who vent and triangle. They'll vent to their friends, their family, or their therapist to feel better. And then the friends, the family, and the therapist see you in a very dark and critical manner. And then these scary triangling people leverage the tainted support that they get from the third party. Somebody comes in and tells me their spouse is a narcissist, I'm a little skeptical. First of all, I know that's not their main problem. Their main problem is even if the person is a narcissist, why did they pick them? Why have they stayed 20 years? Why did they have 3 children with them? Those are more weighty issues than whether or not their spouse is a narcissist. Quit focusing on the boogeyman. Focus on yourself. Focus on healing yourself. There can be people with victim mentality. Victim mentality is the devil. Victim mentality is a cancer that will eat at your soul. Victim mentality is the number 1 cause of divorce. It's the number 2 cause of divorce. It's the number 3 cause of divorce. It's the number 100 cause of divorce. Victim mentality is the main thing that I work with people to try to get out from under, because it's so dangerous and such an incorrect way of thinking about the world. Depression, bipolar disease. There are more people out there with dissociative identity disorder, or basically multiple personalities, than you think that there are. Other mental illnesses, people who are over functioners, people who are rescuers, people who lack boundaries because they're rescuing, under functioners, people who have issues with blended family. My God, if you're in your 40s and you're looking to fall in love with somebody with 3 kids at home, that's almost impossible when you've got 2 kids of your own. This isn't the Brady Bunch. I've never once in 34 years seen somebody blend a family well. It is a disaster. It is not easy. It's hard enough to blend 2 adults. When you throw in 5 angry, hurt children, it's a disaster. It's a clusterfuck is what it is. People who cannot handle conflict effectively. That's really number 1 on my list. You know what you need when you're working with somebody with objectivity, lack of reactivity, somebody who listens, somebody who can apologize, somebody who's aware of their emotional brokenness. Those are the kind of people that you need. But these people cannot resolve conflict. They can't take feedback. They have too much shame. Shame is when you critique somebody this much and they hear this much critiquing. And all you're trying to, and then they react this much, off the charts. My hand's not even, on the camera. They lose their ever loving mind when you're critiquing them just, a tiny bit. Um, Arrogance, insecurity, stonewallers, abandoners, people that run into just the slightest bit of distance in the relationship and then they burn the house down. People with abandonment issues, jealous people, uh, people who are wanting to constantly control you and want to know where you're at and want to know your history, and they're paranoid because they were abandoned as children and they're projecting that you're going to abandon them. Paranoia, sexual hangups. I could write a book about that. People who are just no fun. That isn't any fun. People who are slobs, uh, people who have all kinds of health problems. That's the list I came up. Isn't that daunting? And the truth is, you could date a guy and he's got 10 of the 25 that I listed. You could date a woman, she's got, 8 or 11 or 15 of the ones I listed. It wouldn't be unusual. Even if they have 5, they're a dangerous actor. And they will. Everybody's got something on that list. Trust me. You say, I was going to call this the dark specter of broken person dating, and I thought it was just a little bit too dramatic. But it really is a dark specter. But there's also a dark specter of how would you like to live the rest of your life alone? So many of you in your 30s, late 30s, in your 40s, and in your 50s have completely given up on dating. You don't even try. Either because you have some of the stuff on the list, or you've been hurt too many times, or you might not feel comfortable with your body image. You might not have very high self-esteem. And then, like I said, there's the issue of where do you meet people? My good friend Lenny, my basketball buddy, understands my theories which are correct, trust me, that you always are attracted to the right person. And their job is to tear down your psychological defense mechanisms so that you can heal and grow. We were issued defense mechanisms as children to survive our childhood. They lasted until you were in your early to mid 30s because Mother Nature wanted you to be deaf, dumb, blind, and a little bit naive, a whole lot naive, so that you would fall in love, get married, and have some babies. And you thought you had won the lottery when you were 25 and you met that new person in your life, but you didn't win the lottery. You know what you got now. So Lenny says I should start a website, dating website, where if you grew up with a critical, controlling parent, put that in the profile and we'll match you up with somebody who's critical and controlling because they're your style. That's who you be digging. That's who you be attracted to. However, you were wounded as a child. Listen to this. However you were wounded as a child, that's what calibrates your picker. That's what calibrates what turns you on. That's what calibrates your sexuality. So there's a reason for that, because Mother Nature needs to dismantle the walls that you needed in your infancy and you needed in your childhood and you needed in your young adulthood. Now that's just getting in the way, and Mother Nature wants to heal your wounds. So a broken relationship is a blessing because it gives you the opportunity to heal more wounds. It's all good. But Lenny said, if somebody grew up with a money freak, my computer system would match them up with a money freak, and there'd be all kinds of chemistry. Who do you have chemistry with? You like who you like, dudes. You like who you like. And most often, 92, 93% of the time, they're a photocopy of the people who hurt you the most when you were growing up. That's what romantic love is. Hate to tell you. That's why you keep picking the same Boogie Man all over again. So that is the purpose of love and marriage. It's just to give you a chance to heal. It's give you a chance to heal. So this process of being terrifically wounded as a child, having your marriage blow up in your 30s or 40s, and then being stuck on a treadmill of picking narcissists, liars, con men, assholes, you know, women who are looking for sugar daddies, just people with so many issues that they're dangerous, borderlines, people who are go through bouts of depression, addicts, sexual addicts, you know, the list goes on and on. It's like a war, and we didn't win the war, World War II easily. We fought and we bled and we were brave and we sacrificed. Everybody in the world sacrificed, but we won. And a lot of wonderful, positive things happened in the world as a result of that. So keep fighting. Don't give up hope. I know that's a daunting list. I know I'm telling you that you're going to pick the same kind of person, but uh, as you do the work of your therapy, which is dating and seeing a therapist, I often tell people this here in the therapy room, this isn't the therapy. This is the post game analysis. I just saw Dak Prescott interviewed in the post game interview. That wasn't the football game. That was the post game interview. The therapy is your relationships, people. Almost always exclusively your dating relationships, your romantic relationships, but obviously your family of origins was where it came from. But it can also show up at work. You can also have really dysfunctional, broken relationships in your work life. So here's 5 characteristics that you need to look for. Number 1, you need to develop these in yourself. Okay. So number 1 actually is you have a really fierce motivation to work on yourself because you realize how broken you are and you're disturbed by it. The second thing your partner will need to have and you'll need to have is to have flexible psychological defense mechanisms. They need to know how much they don't know. They need to be teachable. The third thing is they have to be strong enough and courageous enough and have the ability to face off with their deepest emotional pain. Sometimes when somebody was abandoned as a child in their relationships as an adult, as soon as some form of what looks like abandonment shows up, boom, they're out the door. They're people with abandonment issues who abandon before they get abandoned. People have to have trust issues if they're going to make a relationship work. They can't have a great deal of paranoia. They can't be fearing the booger man, the boogie man. You know, just because a guy has 5 or 6 things on that list doesn't make him an evil narcissist. You probably have more than 5 or 6 things on that list yourself. Does that make you an evil narcissist? No, it makes you a human being. It's the human condition. The things I read, that's the human condition. People get depressed. People get addicted to their phone. People overfunction. People don't know how to deal with conflict. People are broken emotionally and it messes up their sexuality. People have health problems. People screw up their money. It's the human condition. Don't throw somebody away who has these qualities of motivation, teachability, ability to feel their pain, and they trust the universe and they trust a good therapist and they trust their new partner. And the fifth thing is somebody who has emotional education and intelligence, emotional intelligence. They read a lot. They watch a lot of YouTube videos, but in Christ's sake, not about narcissism. You can watch every video Sam Vaktin's ever made, Lisa Romano's ever made, and still go out and pick a narcissist. It doesn't help you to have the head knowledge. What you need to do is heal yourself, work on yourself. The head knowledge will help a little bit, but uh, if you don't work on yourself, all the head knowledge is going to do is make you paranoid. You might walk away from a good man. You might walk away from a good woman who just has a human condition. Um, Fear is a good thing in broken people dating. I encourage people just to let the game come to them. I never look for dating partners, and I would never get on a website. Michael Jordan sometimes he just wasn't in the flow of the game. He just didn't have the flow within himself, and other players were, playing, really good on a particular halftime, and then he gets interviewed at halftime and they'd say, Michael, what's going on? You only have 8 points. He goes, I'm just going to let the game come to me. And then in the second half, he scores 40 because he got into a flow and the game came to him. He didn't force it. If you force trying to find somebody, it's going to be a disaster. You're going to be too desperate and too lonely and too needy and too empty. Relax. RELAX. Aaron Rodgers says, relax. It's okay to be alone. Let the game come to you. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. In this book that I want all of you to read, How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Rico, he says a healthy person only expects 25% of their needs to be met in their relationship. But relationship addicts and people with abandonment issues, they expect 60, 70, 80, 90% of their emotional needs to be met in their relationship. Um, so I just encourage you to find fulfillment and joy in all the other areas of your life. Don't give up hope. Have your spidey senses out there being available. If you meet somebody and there's this chemistry thing that happens, follow up on that. If you're ready to be dating, you're healthy enough to be dating. Because what we're talking about is an opportunity to build a partnership and to build an interdependent relationship, not enmeshment, how most people start, not this distant, cut off emotional relationship, but two whole healthy people who are connected to each other, but not overlapping and overly intertwined. I just got to tell you, folks, I've been working on my therapy of broken person dating since 2007. That's 14 years, and it's been a disaster. It's been hard. But here's the good news. The last two relationships have been pretty healthy overall and very positive experiences. And when it ended, it didn't devastate me. I had the sense of self, the self care, the lack of shame, the lack of abandonment issues to still feel the pain, but it wasn't the end of the world. It just gave me an opportunity to learn more about myself and to heal more. So keep tuning in to these broken people, dating broken people videos. I've got a whole bunch of them in me. And if you're in this situation, don't give up hope. You're 42. You're 55, you're 57, you're too young to give up on dating. You're too young to give up on partnership. You want to be walking on the beach when you're 75 with somebody you've known for a decade or two. It's possible. You can do it. You can do it if you know what you're doing and if you take things real slow and if you use the pain of your past relationships to heal yourself instead of pinning it all on the Boogie Man. It's time to stop worshiping the power of the narcissist and to own your own power to heal yourself. Encourage you to make comments to these videos. Let's create a supportive community. And please forward these videos. How many people you know are in midlife, they're single and they're totally friggin' miserable and they're getting killed on dating sites? Know anybody like that? I bet you know 25 people like that. Send them these videos. It'll help them. Well, I enjoyed this. I'm going to savor my Dallas Cowboy victory. And thank you for watching, folks, and God bless.